Agents, are you looking for ways to drive more traffic to your site, how to convert those leads, and most of all, how to create extended value proposition to them so that you can turn those prospects to clients? Well, buckle up and tune in because we're going to get to just that. Well, hello everyone. I am Elliot. I am going to be your host today of Navigating Your Real Estate Jungle. And, right now is, I think, the definition, really of the modern day jungle, right? Where last week so much hysteria kind of hit our industry is the lawsuit of basically that's going to impede on buyers' compensation. And, there's a lot of talk that it will pretty much remove the ability to be compensated as a buyer's representative. So while we're waiting for everybody to roll in, I figured that would be a great place for us to start, today's kind of session or today's topic is really going to be very focused on actually navigating that and making that a bit of a non-issue, but where we are going to be really looking at focusing on seller leads, which is what we primarily do regardless. But today we are really going to be looking at how we drive traffic to your site, right? How do we scale up our message? How do we scale up our clients? And then looking at the nurture cycle of all of that. But before we dive into that, I'm actually really, really curious to hear from all of you. What is it that you guys see as the fallout for some of this? How are you going to navigate this change if you can't be compensated, technically through the MLS, and you have to start going through your buyer, or you'll have to start getting concessions from the seller that, obviously goes to the buyer and then the buyer pays you those, right? I don't think that there's going to be necessarily any change there or as far as a possibility. What do you think is going to be the fallout of some of this? And, how do you see this affecting your business? How are you preparing to shift for this? And then ultimately, what did you guys think of the ruling? So we all know that listings have always been one of the best ways to meet buyers. So do you see an environment where listings almost become kind of a 2-for-1, right? That now you have to start going in and negotiating with that seller saying, hey, I'm going to represent you at no cost on the acquisition of your next home, or my team will. Which again, I know has been the conversation for a lot of people, to where now you can almost kind of look at it from a different structure so that they get the representation on the acquisition. Because I do want to remind everybody of the statistic that over 60% of sellers are also going to buy at that same time, right? So that's a overly massive statistic that people are going to be in need. So let's get moving. All right, so how to drive traffic to your website. So these ideologies that I'm about to give to you guys today, there's something I really want you guys to start broadening your horizons. And so this is where, I kind of always, quite frankly, tiptoe around this because of where everybody's at in their business. And my goal is to always meet you guys where you're at in your business. So some of these strategies are going to be a little bit more advanced today. And so it's going to be kind of going into that edge of things. But here's the part where I really want you guys to start looking at how can you adopt these strategies? How can you put them in play? So the biggest thing that I really am going to be looking at is giving you the ability to have the widget to use it on your existing sites, whether it be a page that you create in an existing site, an additional landing page, or even the call to action that you're creating. Therefore, you're creating a landing page. So not everybody here, which has the ability to build a landing page, which I would highly recommend that you guys, if this is a journey and you want to run ads and truly scale up your message, I 100% recommend that you do that. If not, I'm going to actually recommend that you focus your ad budget on a retarget budget. And then what happens, why that's so impactful is because the way that the algorithms work within, let's just say Google, YouTube, Facebook, or Meta, meaning Facebook and Instagram, right? They'll serve up your ad to a broad audience trying to get them to opt in. Well, if we don't have a retarget budget, a lot of times in place per an ad set, it's going to not necessarily keep reserving your ad to them. It wants to drive traffic, and so it'll show it in a broad range. So what I'm getting at is if this isn't for you, what I would recommend that you do is look at a retarget budget and run that. Here's why. When I run a retarget, I can actually drive people to my landing site, and I have the pixel or my G tag that's placed on that particular landing page, okay? So once that landing page they go to that landing page and then they bounce out, well, guess what? Now my ads are going to continually reserve to that person per them going to my landing page, right? So this is where, again, you can have this planted on email marketing. They click on it, they go to your landing page. Postcard or mail marketing, they scan it, they text to the postcard, they go to the landing page, the pixel picks them up, right? Or even phone calling, hey, go check this out, Zoodealio.com. Hey, I just went ahead and popped you over this link. Boom, you send them the link, they click on it, now the pixel picks them up. So see what I'm talking about, guys? That's like those are two different strategies that I want to be very, very clear on. Is there's a difference when you are going to an audience that you don't know, trying to drive them to your landing page, versus your actions are getting them to the landing page. Now the pixel is picking them up, and then that retarget is now going to serve up your ads and your ad sets so that your value proposition stays in front of them. Here's why I like that strategy for me personally. Number one, that ad budget goes 3 times farther than driving traffic to your site. The driving traffic to your site is expensive, as you're going to see here in just a second. Most of the times in today's society, it's anywhere from $1.25 per the ad all the way to $2 just to get a click. Right? So you're going to get a lot of impressions, meaning you stop the scroll. And then again, if you have a retarget in the pixel in your pixel placed on that particular ad, you can run retargets on those as well. But just an FYI, right? So now once they come to my page, I can reserve up an ad set. And just for the clarity, when I say ad set, you can actually have one ad that's, saying, hi, I'm Elliot, whatever my message is, boom, right? Or my graphic, my ad, hey, get an instant cash offer, remodel your house with zero out-of-pocket cost, sell it for top dollar, get your offer in less than 5 seconds, right? Or get your offer in less than 60 seconds, right? So these are all the different types of things. Now, one thing I'm going to kind of sprinkle on here, and don't let me forget to bring this up to you guys too, because it's part of Blast that we're building. And Kathy, I know you're on here, and I know you had a ton of success with I Am. So this is actually what replaces that we, as you know, what all of that test case was, and what we built and have done on this is very, very next level, and it's super cool. And one of the biggest things that we're going to be doing in this is actually building a widget, right, or a landing page. So now you guys will be able to grow your audience month after month for your Blasts, people that are subscribing to your Blast monthly, Blast subscribers, right, your monthly digest is what we call it. It's going to be able to serve them up their particular house and then rolling data on their particular property. They'll be able to tune their value. They'll be able to see the different offers and options that their home qualifies for. And I'll take you guys into it here in just a second and see it, because, again, that's something that's really, really huge, and it's going to be a massive top-of-funnel action, because it will pretty much allow you to take the idea of building a monthly newsletter, right, where people want to opt in to get data about their house, to monitor trends inside of their neighborhood, to monitor cash offer options, and their own current home value, right? So it's very, very easy to get these types of people in, and that's, again, going to be another top-of-funnel strategy. So sorry I went off on that. As everybody knows, I'm just so excited about that, because, again, it's something that's just massive. All right, so what we are going to walk through in today's thing, right? You need to you really track your money and what you're spending on a particular platform, right? So things that you really want to pay attention to is in phase 1 as you go through this, right, is you need to track. Now, I want to give everybody just this disclaimer, because, again, candidly, I've met with umpteen members, in the 3 years that we've been doing this, and a lot of times people will run something and they'll be like, hey, I'm not getting the conversions that I want, and then we'll dig down in the analytics, and they've had 50 site clicks, they've spent less than $100 in a lot of cases, and had a partial lead or one conversion, and they're like, hey, I'm not getting the lead flow that I want. Well, at the end of the day, if you're casting that out at that brand new audience, like I said, the bottom line is you don't have enough ads running, right? Because you're not split testing what's working. You just throw out one thing, think that it's going to work for your particular market. Yes, we provide you those assets. Yes, we provide you the copy. But at the end of the day, your market a lot of times is going to require your specific message, right? So these are certain things where you guys really need to pay attention to the performance of every single ad that you're running. Okay, so that's where a lot of times it's going to start with the impressions, right? An impression is when somebody basically looks at the ad or it's served up. Okay, number 2 is the click, right? That's really where we got to get to, right? So whether it's returned in the search or they're clicking it from the social media platform, right? So now they actually click on the ad to learn more about it, and the click through is they click through to your landing page. So now they end up on your landing page, and are they bouncing from the landing page, or are they actually moving forward and taking an action, right? So the i.e. conversion. So, and then the last thing we're really going to be looking at, because again, I want to just paint this picture as broad as I can for you guys, is the lifetime value and the lifetime gross profit from a client. I think that this formula, guys, is the one that does it for me, right? This is ultimately where the juice is, because I need to know the lifetime value, and I need to pay attention to lifetime gross profit for my clients. Because if I'm not doing those things, a lot of times I'm going to spend $500, get nothing from it, and throw my hands up and say, this is bull crap, it doesn't work, or it's not working for me in my market, or I don't know what I'm doing, etc. And I just quit. Where I want to challenge you to go on the journey of actually learning this to your business, for your business. Because here is the harsh reality around it, guys. If you learn this strategy, you'll be able to scale your business to any height that you want, right? Because then it just becomes how much money do I need to put in to how much money I'm going to get out, right? So if here's a simple way to look at it. If you had a magic machine that you knew every time that you put in $1 and it would return $10, how many dollars would you put in it? Obviously as many as you could, because it's just going to exponentially grow. Well, as our ads scale up, obviously they get a little bit more diluted. So it's kind of being able to measure those scales, changing up your messages, etc. Right? But then ultimately, it's all about getting that database, getting people to know you, like you, and trust you. And ultimately, when they think of real estate, they think of you, or when they think of real estate. When they think of you, they think of real estate, right? So I know that those are some cliche sayings, but at the end of the day, right, that is the true mission. Okay, so some stats I want you guys to consider. I think I used this, a couple of weeks ago, and I think it's just so paramount to digest when we're really looking at what all of this is. Because the lead source I'm going to give that we're talking about, guys, and I'm curious if it's going to get a little bit more diluted with, there's a solid chance that the ad spend on buyers, right? We're talking massive IDXs. So you're talking about Boomtown, KV Core, Sierra, any of these companies that are running ads for you guys, there's a solid chance that their ad spend is going to completely change. So is the seller ad space going to become more competitive? Well, and I'm here to tell you, it already is ultra competitive, and it's definitely more expensive to create a seller lead than it is to create a buyer lead. So, and then again, in today's stand on the sidelines and kind of monitor what's going on, I really think we need to be thinking about our offer, right? So kind of a little improv here on this, but again, when the value exceeds the price, they will buy, right? One of my favorite Steve Jobs isms, as I like to refer to it. So what I mean by that is what is your offer to the marketplace? What is, it can't, even just as simple as a cash offer, right? Don't get me wrong, it still carries a lot of power in our industry, and especially depending on your market. With that said, I still think that there needs to be a key differentiator. And a lot of that is going to be, hey, you want to sell speed. you want to spell certainty, and you want to sell convenience, right? So those are the things around your particular ad that you need to cast out, because that's the problems that you're solving in that particular marketplace, right? So speed, certainty, convenience, right? And then of course still achieving best cost or great value. So let me give you a little bit of an indicator or an example of what I'm talking about, right? Hey, are you looking or what if you could rehab your house with $0 out of pocket and actually keep all of that money? Or, hey, are you tired of watching all these home flippers flip their house and sell it for this massive profit? You think you'd like to do that, but you just don't have the cash to do it? Well, guess what? Now we can, right? Boom. So it's like being able to take these types of ideologies and simplifying the message so that, number one, you stop the scroll, right? You get i.e. get the impression. Number two, they listen to your entire message so that they click, and now you pull them through your website, right? Get your no obligation cash offer to see how much more we could sell your house today, right? So these are the, like calls to action, right? So these are the frameworks inside of the ad that you want to be able to do these things. Now, the reason why I keep going to these video or, basically video, which I know a lot of agents kind of steer away from, is because they're more effective, guys. So I'm not saying that the static motion ads, these types of things don't work, because they do. But that's where a lot of times that retarget, if you, they'll be effective in a retarget. But as far as like being able to stop the scroll, then we have a retarget budget that's set on that one with my pixel, right? That's where these will be continuing to serve up. But this is what's going to stop that scroll, is you walking around in front of a landmark that they know, right? Subtitles automatically filled in, hey North Valley, right? Hey whatever, right? So it's all about, I think I talked about this a couple of sessions ago, right? It's what is the call out that's going to stop that particular scroll, right? So meaning something that is a parallel to them, that makes sense to your audience. And then that's where I think dropping, some of a pin, because so much of our custom audiences are different today, but that's where dropping a pin today can really make sense in the real estate, where we now have a 30-mile radius around that pin, and I can call out something that makes sense to those particular homeowners. Well, this is where I also want to recommend, just being smart for you guys, is trying to find somewhat of the turnover ratio per those 30 miles, right? So now, as a quick disclaimer, I do think that the turnover ratios are going to go in the crapper, right? Meaning that something that was 8-9% could fall all the way to 4% right now. I think that we could see our turnover ratios in parts of America go down to 2-3%, right? Which means only out of 100 homeowners, only 2 or 3 of them are going to sell. So that's where, again, I think that the path is math, and we need to, kind of pay attention to what's going on. So we want to look at, definitely areas. I would recommend starters. You want to go kind of both ends of the spectrum, right? Starter, right? Meaning that it's a 2-bedroom house, like it's an area that maybe they're going to move up, is what ultimately what I'm getting at, right? Family grows, because life is still going to happen. They're still going to, need to have life events, right? That's what we're paying attention to. And then the next one is going to be move downs, right? So, for example, 2-story houses, more of like a retirement, older, established community area, where sometimes some of these older, bigger houses, people that have lived in them for 25 years, they're empty nesters, and now they want to move down, and that's exactly where, the Cash Plus could serve up extremely well, because they've lived there for 20 years. The last remodel was 10 years ago or 15 years ago when they kind of first moved in, and the house could now use a little bit of updating, and if we do, it'll sell for a boatload more, and they don't have much of a mortgage, and they're going to take that cash and pay cash for their next house, right? So therefore, it completely removes the rate. So this is what I'm getting at, is sometimes a cash situation, you look for these more problematic times, because now they can go in and pay cash completely for the house that they're going to live in, and they're going to get a stellar deal, right? So those are the kinds of audiences that you guys need to look for, right? So again, just giving you a little bit of a pro tip on how to be a little bit more sophisticated there. All right, so back to the numbers and stats for you guys to consider on this. Per the traffic that you're driving, okay, average to good site is only 0.5% to 1.2% conversion rate. So that's a pretty simple math equation, right? So that means every 100 people that I drive to my site, I'm going to get a half to just over one person that's going to register for what my call to action is on my website. Okay, there it is. This is from Google. This is what it is. And so I think that this is where, yes, can you potentially do better than these? Yeah, but like let's look at this logically. Let's say that you have a smashing, compelling value ad. You have a great ad. You have a great landing page, a super clear call to action, a great hero section, a compelling, easy how it works. You have your social proof, right? Your testimonials, etc. Your second call to action, right? Which is kind of that page structure that I just gave you guys is one of my favorite page structures, right? Hero, good clear call to action, how it works, social proof, final call to action, right? Like the compelling value that you're going to deliver. Okay, so once that piece gets in there, let's just say that you're smashing it with everything that we said there. Even if we jump that to 2, right? That means every 100 people, only 2 registrations are going to happen, okay? So that means if I'm spending $1, and again, I have a great ad and I'm spending $1.25 all the way to $2 to get a click to my site, that means I'm going to have to spend about $200 to $400, right? Right here's the numbers to be able to get the traffic that makes sense for me to be able to convert that. So here's the part, guys. I'm going to begin, and again, I'm going to pull you through this math equation. And I am a tremendous fan of this, right? Just this is where I'm wanting to get with everybody on this is you have to have a little bit of staying power. You pretty much have to be able to lose money for 60 to 90 days before you're going to start seeing return. Just giving it to you straight, right? You have to be in a position to lose money for 60 to 90 days before you start to convert, right? So as you can see here, this again is on average home for sale, right? An agent that this is a seller lead on average right now. This is actually even like year-old data as I researched it. So it's around $100, right? That seller leads are. A lot of times cash offer leads, especially depending on what market you're in, due to the wholesalers, due to the open doors, offer pads, etc., competing in the marketplace, those leads can get as high as 120, 150. Okay. All right. Now, here's the gold of what I want everybody to look at inside of this. Let's do a quick walkthrough on why this makes so much darn sense. All right. What did you spend to generate that client, right? Then from there, how are we going to get that, keep that client? And then how are we going to get, maintain the client, then get repeat and referral from that particular client? Okay, so if we look at this, right, so just giving this a ratio, let me give you a little bit of method to my madness here on this, because again, I literally operated off of averages to build this formula for you guys. So let's say that you have an ad spend of what we just went through to where it's costing you about roughly $1.25 to $2 to drive that traffic. Okay, now you get 100 to 200 leads. You have a 5% conversion ratio, which again depends on you and some of those pieces, which again, seller leads are more expensive, but they actually convert better. Here's what I want to share with you guys and why Zoodealio's value prop works so darn well when you work with this. 50% of these people are going to do something statistically within an 18-month window. 50%, guys. So that means if I acquire this lead today, it's going to do something anywhere from now to the next 18 months with a 50% certainty. I'm telling you right now, that's exactly why Zillow's in this space, Open Door, right? And all of these investors and everybody just keeps throwing money money at this, because the real estate industry overall is a $2 trillion a year industry, and they're trying to tap into the roughly $100 billion of commissions and whatnot that get paid out on an annual basis. Okay, so let's continue walking through this, right? So if I'm driving, let's just say I'm getting $2 a lead, and at 100, right? So now I have an ad spend of $2,000 to drive that type of traffic. Okay, well now I finally, again, I've gotten my leads right at that particular point. That's going to give me about 100 leads at that particular point. Well, I finally convert one lead, right, which is now a conversion ratio of 1%. Okay, I think that all of us, if I promise you, if you do enough reps, we're all going to be able to have a conversion ratio of 100. Okay, so what I'm getting at with sharing this with you guys now is the average sales price in America is actually even higher than this, but let's just say it's $400,000 or $450,000, and you're only getting a 2.5% commission roughly, right? So now that's going to give you roughly a commission that's paid out of the of $12,000. Now, one thing I want to point out on why I think everybody who's on here with me has such a massive opportunity. That original ad spend, so many people bail after 100, 250, 500, right? It just gets a little bit of a, hairy, and they don't have the staying power. They don't want to waste the money because they don't know what's waiting on the other side for them, right? And can you beat this? Of course you can. But can it not? Can you have to spend sometimes $5,000 before you start getting the lead flow that you're looking for? Of course. This is where I want to take you guys through doubling down, paying attention, split testing your stuff, which is all going to be in the slides after this. Because the more you pay attention to it, the faster you're going to get into revenue, right? Here's the other thing I want to tell you guys. When you're launching 10 ads, 9 of them are not going to work, right? There's going to be one clear performer as an example. That's the one that you need to double down on per the area. Then you need to figure out a way to continually improve that. Then here's the other part with landing pages and all of those things, which is why we give you the widget, is so that you guys can go in and customize the landing pages that make sense for you and your marketplace, okay? But let's finish walking through this math here. So now back to the average closing price is $400,000 or $450,000, 2.5% commission. We now get a $12,000 payout. Okay, we're net profit $10,000 on that. Now to maintain my client, this is where again most people screw up right there. They'll just do the deal with the client. They don't have any long-term follow-up. They're not running blast. They're not running value props. They're not doing client appreciations. They're not running, just constant contact stuff with their clients, et cetera, right? No long-term follow-up. So I want to, again, implore you to think about these pieces in your business, because it's not what the client is worth one time, it's what they're worth in a lifetime. And if you follow the strategy that I'm laying out here for you, you're going to see how much value a client brings. And so again, super conservative fashion, right? Most clients are actually going to have you bring in 2 transactions from them, usually another referral as well. So it actually would be an additional 1.5% transaction. But again, I wanted to be ultra conservative here for you guys to just kind of show you how darn valuable this is. I'm going to say that you're only going to get a half of a deal or a half of a referral from that client that you acquired. Okay, so now if we just simply put all of this math together, and just so you guys know what that $1,000 is the cost of sending birthday card, a house card, the cost for your systems, like your campaigns, to your email campaigns, right? There are, even though there's not direct cost to one-off, there's a cost to the annual basis, and of course you would divide that per. So again, that's just kind of a guess. I mean, and again, if you're doing client parties and stuff like that, obviously that would have a little bit of staying power, but maybe a little bit more. It could get more expensive for the lifetime of the client. And if you're doing those types of things, in most cases you're going to smash a half of a referral. So, but again, just for the sake of continuing on in our math equation here, so now because we get an additional half. So I should have said plus 6,000 there, not plus 18,000. But unless we do a 1.5, maybe that's what I was thinking, is it's usually 1.5. So then my math on the bottom would be screwed up. But regardless, so at this point, even if we took a half of a referral, right, now we minus the math below here, you can see how this, after maintaining them, right, and the actual math in this, the lifetime gross profit should actually be in this. You have two ways to look at this. It would actually be 27,000. My math was screwy there. Sorry, as I put this together. So if we deducted the ad spend, had profit of 12,000, deducted the maintaining client of 1,000, had an additional profit of 6,000, 18,000 in this, then it would give us the 27,000 as far as the client revenue goes on this, right? So without a doubt, there is gold and platinum, pewter, whatever you want to put in that long-term follow-up, which is why most of the time, people that stay in the game a long time, they do what it takes to get their database to 3,000, 5,000, maybe even 10,000, and then they work the heck out of that database. Because usually once you have 5,000 valid names, email addresses, telephone numbers, if you have a marketing plan, that's usually more business than one person can handle themselves on any given year as far as that goes. So, oh yeah, and Kathy just echoed what I said there. There's gold in your database. 80% of my business comes from my clients in Sphere. That's because you're a pro, Kathy. Okay, so let's shift gears here and start talking about capturing leads, right? This is really where I think the juice kind of starts to come into play for you guys. So having a compelling value proposition. Let's talk real quick about congruency, because I think that, again, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. And even though, I study ads and whatnot all the time, guys. Like, I'm a huge Alex Hormozi fan, those of you guys that know. And the guy's totally become a kingpin in the space all off of this. But, Russell Brunson, Dan Kennedy, long-term marketing, right? A lot of those guys there who I personally tap into and constantly am trying to sharpen my saw so that A, we're performing, and B, I could share it with you guys. So with that said, right, is capturing leads and ad congruency. What I want to get at by that whole ad congruency, right, is if your ad is, really kind of geared towards the color schemes and those types of things don't make sense. Even with your landing page, a lot of times that will make people feel like it's a bait and switch type thing. So I would highly recommend that you really look at the feel of your ads. Do they feel the same as the landing page that you're driving them to, right? You're spending a boatload of money and time and energy and effort to get that impression. And then the same with the click, and then the same with the click through, and then the same with the conversion as far as that goes, okay? So these are all things that we really need to be paying attention to. And so again, Zoodealio gives you a general landing page that you guys have. There are some discussions right now where we're looking at potentially building the ability to customize the landing page, those types of things that are coming down the pike for you guys. But you do have the widget as it sits right now so that you can customize that landing page. Here's an example of one that I stole from one of our members on how you can customize the landing page. So as you can see, this is a little bit more branded to them. Now, those of you guys that know me know that I'm all about the value prop, right? So you have two schools of thought here. When I'm marketing to my database and people that know me, I'm absolutely going to use my brand notoriety in that space. When I don't know them, right, I'm marketing to the program, to the offering, to what problem am I solving in that marketplace, so that then they come in, they register, they get to know me. Then I do my follow-ups with my branding as far as that goes, right? Because here is an example. Jay is if he does his marketing and he's customizing his landing page and he's using this in Blast as long-term follow-ups to work his database, etc. That's where, Kathy, you would want to absolutely use your picture. Use your contact info, right? People know you. They want to engage with your stuff. It's a trusted source so that when that time comes, whether it's 6 months from now or 6 years from now, with you being consistent in the follow-up month after month through the campaigns, etc., making sure that we're delivering them things of value, not just, hey, are you ready yet? Hey, are you ready yet? But we'll get to that in a minute. Value add services that they're engaging with, all of that needs to be based around your brand. But in the focus of the landing page, this is the difference of what I want you guys to see of what the difference is, right? This is a page that's around a call to action. Get multiple cash offers. Instantly get your homes, instantly explore what cash buyers will pay for your home today, right? So these are the different value adds on this that I want you guys to see the difference on real quick here. Let's see, Mark, I see you popped in here. So how did they do that? Looks like a video can be added. Absolutely. So Mark, for you on this is a custom landing page, okay? So what they did is I think he built this in a thing called Softer as an example, right? That does have a database behind it, but you 100% could build this in WordPress. You could build something like this in Go High Level. You could build something like this in Conversion. Anything that will allow you to have a page builder. Now, the page builders a lot of times are drag and drop. Again, guys, do yourself a favor. You can go get customized landing page builders that I promise you, my 80-year-old grandma, I could teach her how to do it. They give you tutorial videos and they're drag and drop. So stop being afraid of them and go create it, because I promise you, while you're in this particular space, you could drag and drop it, you could do it, you could publish it live. Now, one of the things on this that you'll have to figure out is the DNS records. And again, if you guys need some help and support, the Zoodealio support team can obviously help you out with some of these things too. But again, this is where, Mark, I want you to look at, you have two different needs here, okay? You have the landing page that's geared towards the value prop brought to you by your trusted advisor, Jay. Now we have just the need source of get multiple cash offers instantly, right? But this is where it's as seen. You have to have the social proof. You have to have the testimonials, right? This is without a doubt harder to convert. But this right here is that long-term nurture. They're both landing pages. They're both calls to action, and they're both serving a purpose in a slightly different manner, okay? So I want to be clear on that. All right. So let's talk about making it all work together with everything that I've given you guys over these last couple of weeks. And those of you that are on here, like I said, I've kind of sequentially gone, I think it was starting my last 3 sessions, so that'd be 6 weeks ago, because Kayla goes, I go, kind of et cetera. So starting 6 weeks ago to now, we've kind of built a framework around making all of these things work together. All right, so having cold outreach. This is, again, I want to remind everybody where that testimonial piece, the pixel, when you're driving your mail product out to a marketplace, right? You want to have a compelling message. Stay tuned. Everybody knows I've been working on this diligently, and I'm getting actually pretty close where I think it'll be out by the end of Q1, where we'll be able to say, hey, Kathy, your home on 123 Main Street has a cash offer range right here. Explore your options and offers today. Scan here, right? So it literally will say cash offer range of 500 to 550, and that's obviously going to be accurate. They'll explore your home's cash offer today, and boom, they'll be able to scan and pull them in. Okay, followed up with these so that's people that you don't know, right? Cold outreach. Then from there, we want to reach out to people that we know. Okay, we want to make sure that we're running a consistent follow-up message. Our databases have to be in place, and the goal is to make sure that we're cleaning up our database. How do we grow our database, right? So, are you looking at strategies? You're, generating the leads, having that long-term nurture, because, again, it's never that first touch that on how we're going to win clients over. We have that long-term formula that we can see that it's going to take a minute to pull them through. But when we really look at what the lifetime gross profit is of the client, the profit, right? As I showed with you guys, where you have a $2,000 spend, you have an average commission at $400,000. Let's just say it's 12 grand. You have an additional $1,000 of expense in long-term nurturing and maintaining the relationship with that client. Then from there, you're going to be getting an additional 1.5 referrals from, repeat and referral from that one particular client if it's done right, giving you an average profit of $27,000 from a client, right? So this is all starting with that ad spend to be able to get that. So simply put, would you spend $2,000 to get $27,000 in profit? Well, that's like a 15x return, where a lot of people in ad space, right? Usually it's a worthy ad when you have a 3 to 5x profit / revenue, or not profit from the actual ad spend. If you have a 3 to 5x profit from the ad spend, then it's usually a great performer, and what the success indicators of many people look for in that particular ad space. And that's across all areas. Okay. So on this, right, when we now look at how we're running all of these things in here, my pixels on the landing page, from when they scan, now I'm running those long-term retargets, right, the ad sets that we talked about. Then you also have your warm outreach, which is people that we're still driving those back to the landing page, right, which is where this is an example of where you're driving a not met lead to. This is an example of landing page of where you're driving somebody that or a trusted source back to, right? So this is where that cold outreach, warm outreach, right? That's the difference on these pieces. And then I also want to implore you guys to make sure that you're posting content, right? And you're commenting, engaging with other people's posts so that they're more likely to see yours, right? Those are all strategies that I've gone through for the last couple of weeks. Okay, now let's go into some of this long-term, fortune is in the follow-up type methodologies, right? So we have to have a compelling opt-in and a value proposition of what that looks like, right? Now, as an example, this is where you guys can be running the launch campaign to people in your database. Well, then let's say you have a database of 5,000 people, you have a 20%, engagement rate on those, or let's say you have a 30% click, then a 20% opt-in. So out of 5,000, let's see, that would be 30% would be 1,500, then 20% of 1,500, that's 300 people. So then that's 300 people that you would want to potentially move them over to Blast as an example, right? Where now they're more of an engaged value add. They're looking to transact and do something. But I also want to prompt you that, Blast is a long game where it's going to be giving them their monthly trends and insights month after month after month, right? And then the system is also going to capture when they log in, once a month, or and then give you indicators of, hey, they've logged in 5 times this last month, maybe we should be reaching out to them. And it's because of, as you'll see here, the dynamic landing page all the way to the right of your screen there, tune their home's value, see about the cash offer options, explore different options that are available for them as far as that goes. So this is an example of like a live page, right? So where now they have that opt-in, and month after month, they're going to be able to come in, tune their value, lock it in, right? This is where those range pieces, again, that's going to coincide with the postcard that you're potentially sending them, explore different cash offer options, right? So that's the whole different, right? The CTA in this is completely different versus I'll take this deal, it's explore the option, right? And so now they have the ability, right? So giving you guys a quick walkthrough, they have their house, right? And so this is just an example walkthrough on this. So imagine that the pictures and everything were for their exact house, right? So now they come in, they can claim their particular house, then they come into their house, right? Pictures, all that would be congruent. They would see the different options, explore this. They can see the different options, all of these pieces that are there. And then they're also going to be getting a Cash Plus story month after month that's going to be a compelling value add for them, right? So then now they can click that, capture those clicks. All of those things are going to be captured and then rendered back to you. So that's what we're getting at, and this is where, this is such a huge valuable piece to where you're now going to be able to, in the very near future, cast out your widget, grow your existing database where people are going to be able to monitor their monthly home's value trends and insights, and what explore what cash buyers will pay for their house. And then you'll also be capturing all those behaviors. And the key indicator on that is you're going to be looking for people that are start engaging with it 3 to 5 times a month. And usually that's going to be an indicator that you need to make contact with that person and be of service to them. With that said, as always, thank you guys. I appreciate you sticking with me, and we'll see you on the next one. Remember to like or subscribe or share this with a fellow agent if you think that they would get value out of it. As always, thanks for tuning in.